absolutely thrilled that this is happening. So their theme for today, for our symposium, is reconnecting the LESLLA community, because it's been a long year and a half. And while we are really disappointed that we are not gathering together in beautiful Malmo, we are absolutely delighted to be able to bring everybody together across multiple continents, from multiple countries and from different states, to be here together today. So this is our All-LESLLA meeting that we are going to be going over some of what has been happening in the past over the past 2 years since we last got together. And we're really glad that you're all able to join us for this today. So I'm going to hand this over to our past president, Patsy Egan, to talk about some of the tech basics that we'll be using during our LESLLA meeting.
Great, thank you. Oh, it's so lovely to see so many familiar names and so many new names. Welcome to the All-LESLLA meeting and this, our 17th annual symposium. Whether this is your first or your 10th symposium, you know you are in for a treat. There is a lot of great stuff happening. And to maximize our time together, we do want to remind you to please keep your video off. There will be a couple of moments during today's meeting and in other places throughout the symposium where you'll be asked to turn on your video and talk in a small group. This is not that time. So go ahead and turn your video off and your sound off so that we can make sure everyone has access to us and can hear, and the bandwidth is easy. So just a reminder there. We are going to record this session and then we will be posting it publicly, just so you know that. Couple of things. If Zoom is not your go-to platform, Andrea and I have been Zooming for 18 months now, but if you use something else, you might not be aware, there is a gallery view and a speaker view up in the top right that you can mess with, see what you like better. Gallery view allows you to see more people who are speaking. Speaker view just highlights the speaker who is currently talking. And then at the bottom of your screen, you will have to hover your mouse, but you'll see that there's a way to unmute, to change your video. You can click on the participant list and see we have over 80, almost 90 people in the waiting room or in the room today, so you can see who is there. Use that chat box feature. In order to really keep track of the chat box, you do need to click it and open it, and then you can actually extend it. You can make it bigger, because as chats come through, you'll notice they disappear very quickly, and sometimes you don't have a chance to read it before more things have filed in, like a waterfall, and you miss something. So do it. Grab that chat box and extend it. And I think those are the big things. If you need closed captioning, that option is available at the bottom of your screen as well.
All right, so we want to start out with hearing, where are you joining us from? And so what we're going to do is Patsy is going to chat out a link to a Padlet. And here is what the Padlet looks like. So we already have our board members have put in where they are joining us from. And if you click on those dots, you can see names. Some people have put their emails. So in the Padlet, once you get that link, you can click on that pink plus sign. You can search for your place by name. So I'm going to search for Minneapolis, Minnesota. And then please write your name. If you'd like to write your email address, that's also optional. And then you're just going to hit publish, and you will appear on the Padlet map. So I can already see it's populating with people letting us know where they're joining from.
This is for sure the coolest thing you'll do all day. So do take a moment to jump into that link and put in your, we were so excited to find this, I can't even tell you. Look, we've got people from Turkey, all over North America and Europe, someone in South America as well. We'll just give people a moment for this joyful exercise here.
Yeah, and Patsy, could you read, there's some more people are joining, so if you could put the Padlet link
absolutely
in there again so people can still grab it.
Here you go. So if you just joined, click on that link we just published in the chat and click on that little pink plus sign to put in your location, and we'll be able to see who here is and where you're joining us from.
All right, fun. And this, you will continue to have this Padlet link. So if you want to go back afterwards and see where are people joining from, who is near me, who do I want to reach out to, who's near me, this is going to be available to you. All right, unsurprisingly, our friends from Australia have not joined us because it is the middle of the night where they are. All right, I'm going to go ahead and bring us back to the staff, to our All-LESLLA meeting. But please continue to populate the Padlet, go back and visit it after the meeting, after the symposium, and see which LESLLA practitioners are close to you and where everybody is coming from. All right. So I would like to invite our 2020 and 2021 LESLLA Board of Directors. If you are here, please turn on your cameras so everybody can see your face. So this is the current LESLLA Board of Directors, all of who have worked so incredibly hard to make this symposium a reality. So just a huge, huge thank you to everybody who is on the LESLLA Board of Directors who unexpectedly ended up planning a symposium that has over 200 people registered from around the world. So just want to say a tremendous thank you to everybody who is on that board of directors who has worked so hard this year and has managed to stay connected throughout a pandemic and make this possible. We could not be prouder, and it has been an amazing team. So thank you all again. And also a huge thank you to our outgoing board members, Patsy, Naima, Rola, Ray, and Tina. It has been a joy and a pleasure to work with and learn from you all over the past year. Thank you so much. And we know that we know that this isn't goodbye. We are not letting you go. You are still going to continue to be a part of our LESLLA community. In fact, Ray has graciously agreed to continue as our web designer next year. So even though she will no longer be on the board, she's still going to be helping to make sure that our website is something that is easily accessible and has all of the latest materials and resources on it. So thank you, Ray, for that. And my name is Andrea Eckelberger. I am the incoming president. I have been involved with LESLLA since 2011 was when I went to my first symposium and haven't looked back since. So it's been, again, just a pleasure and an honor to be able to serve with such amazing people over the past year. And I'm looking forward to continuing with the new board, who we'll be introducing later in the next year. So let's look at our topics for our meeting today. We are going to talk about how to navigate this year's virtual symposium. I'm assuming that everybody has probably been to different virtual conferences over the past year and a half, but we want to make sure that everybody feels comfortable with how we will be running the virtual symposium and that we're all on the same page. We're going to give our updates on LESLLA as an organization, which means you'll get a chance to hear from a number of our current board members giving updates on their areas of expertise. We're going to introduce and welcome our new board members for the upcoming year. And then you're going to have a chance to go into small groups and do a little bit of work, discuss priorities for the upcoming year so that we as the board can hear from everybody who is a part of the LESLLA community to get some direction on what should we focus our priorities on. So I want to remind everybody that we have our symposium website, and Patsy is going to chat out the link for that. So the symposium website has everything that you need to be able to successfully navigate this symposium, including links to the program, links to the Padlet, and then please check out our symposium message board, which is another Padlet. And here is where you can go ahead, post messages about to people that you want to connect with, about what you're really excited about what's working well. Just go in there, say hi, and read messages from people who are part of the LESLLA community from around the world. So we decided to do things a little bit different. This is the flipped classroom version of a symposium. So everybody who registered as a presenter has done some incredibly hard work, and they pre-recorded their sessions, and you can find all of their session recordings and all of their materials in one easy place on our Padlet. So if you haven't already checked out the Padlet, do know that we're not going to be having, aside from our keynote today, none of our sessions are going to be live. You should have watched the sessions in advance, and then you'll get a chance to hear from them and during the roundtables, and we will unpack that later. But do know, if you go to the LESLLA Padlet, this is where you're going to find all of the recordings and tons of resources from our different presenters. And we will continue to add, like the recording of this meeting will also go on the Padlet. Everything from the symposium will be in the Padlet. And I'm going to hand it over to Patsy to talk about our schedule.
Great, thank you. So you made it to the All-LESLLA meeting. It worked. Yay. We're so glad you're here. So this is where you're at in one of those maps. It says you are here. This is it. Following today's session, we'll hear from Allison Phipps, who's joining us for a keynote talk that you will not want to miss. We got a chance to talk with her about it on Monday. And then we have our first roundtable, and we'll hear more about how those will work. And then you'll have a chance to interact directly with presenters. And you'll be able to go into breakout room of your choice to interact with presenters along a given theme. So we'll explain more, but those are going to be just a really intimate way to really talk to the presenters and find out more about them, get them talking to each other and to you about their work. Then we have our first coffee break. It has been no small feat to try to figure out how to do this time zone wise. Andrea and I are here in the Midwest of North America, but we have people joining us, of course, from all over the globe. But this first coffee break is going to be North America time friendly. And then we have another roundtable at 5 o'clock, my time, Central Time, and then a coffee break that will be Australia time friendly. And so one way that we have kind of found, and I believe we have Ray to thank for figuring out some time zone gymnastics for us, is this time buddy. So if you're trying to figure out what time it is for you when we list times in Central, that will be helpful. So for our colleagues in Australia who hopefully are sleeping soundly right now, they can join us for a coffee break later. And then tomorrow, bright and early for those of us in North America, midday for Europe, we have another coffee break. And then we have our second keynote with Joko de Vilde joining us from Norway. And then 2 more roundtables before we have a very brief closing around noon our time here. That is the plan. And we know it's going to be a little bit tricky to figure out your time zones, but we believe in you. It's going to be fine. If you have questions, do let us know.
Time zones have definitely been a steep learning curve for us this over the past year. So again, we just want to say a huge thank you to all of our presenters and to our 2 keynote speakers that we're going to be hearing from over the next couple of days. Again, this is a new territory for us. This is the first virtual symposium that LESLLA has put on, and our presenters have just been amazing. With all of the work that they've done to get their sessions recorded, keep them around the 20-minute mark when they have so much more to say, and submit all of those resources that people are going to be able to access before, during, and after the symposium. So thank you all for all of your work. And we're so excited to have our 2 keynote speakers, Allison Phipps and Joko de Vilde, who will be joining us today and tomorrow. So we want to talk about what is a roundtable discussion. What exactly does that mean? So a roundtable discussion is a brief opportunity for the attendees of the symposium to meet the presenters, ask questions, and participate in a facilitated discussion around a conference theme. So kind of a note, presenters in the roundtables are not going to be giving their session. This is going to be more like a question and answer that happens after a presentation. So there will be a facilitator in there who will be reading the questions, conveying the questions to the presenters, and the presenters will be there if they're able to answer all of your questions. So during the roundtable, what is going to happen is we are going to be using the same link for the entire symposium. So you will have this link and you can just stay on if that's easiest for you. We'll begin by just welcoming everybody and going through the instructions, and then we'll have a 20-minute breakout room. So this is where you will get a choice of which breakout room you want to go into. And this is why we've been sending out reminders to please update your Zoom, because if you have the most recent version of Zoom, you will be able to select your breakout room. If you're not able to select your breakout room, not a problem, because that is why Patsy and I will be there and we will shift people into the breakout room of your choice. You'll just have to let us know in the chat. So you'll have about 20 minutes in the breakout room to do some questions and answers with the presenters. They're grouped by theme, so you'll choose which theme you're interested in. Then we'll come back together and you'll get a chance to go into a new breakout room. And of course, you can go back into your previous breakout room if you have more questions that you want to ask. But you'll get a chance to go into a new breakout room, ask some questions of new presenters, and then we will come back together at the end. So again, just a reminder, presenters will not be giving their presentations. You should have watched them ahead of time in the Padlet. And that's also why we have built in a break in today between Roundtable 1 and Roundtable 2. If you haven't had a chance to watch the presentations, we have some time built in that you can go into the Padlet and watch the presentations that you are interested in attending roundtables for. So roundtables are one of the big things we're doing. The second big thing we're going to do are our coffee breaks. And coffee breaks are not the same thing as roundtables. What they are is a networking opportunity. They're a chance to connect with fellow LESLLA educators, but there won't be any breakout rooms and there won't be any presenters. What there will be are facilitators. We have some guest facilitators who will be helping to run the Australia friendly coffee break. But those facilitators will have some prompts for people to discuss. So you'll have a chance to share your successes. What questions have you had? You can ask some questions and use some of that group think, tap into all of the brilliant people who are here in our LESLLA community. If you have any resources that you've found and loved over the past year, it'll be a chance to share that. So it's going to be a networking session with some guided questions, some guided conversations that people will be able to unmute or use the chat to connect. Unfortunately, because we are not in person, you're going to need to provide your own coffee. This year, we won't be able to provide it for you. Next year, we'll all have to drink our coffee together and raise our coffee glasses together. So I'm going to turn it over to Patsy to quickly explain the times and how those coffee breaks will work.
Right. So as I mentioned before, we're doing these in order to accommodate our colleagues all over the globe. So 1 o'clock today, North America time friendly, and then this evening, our time for our colleagues in Australia, and then 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, Central Time. And just to note that each of those coffee break sessions will have a note taker. So we're not going to record them, but they will have extensive notes that are created and then shared in the Padlet. There'll be a separate column in the Padlet for those coffee break notes, because usually what happens, our experience through having webinars and coffee breaks for LESLLA throughout this year, is that so much great stuff is shared in the chat that the recording is actually not as useful as the notes. And so we're just going to let people not worry about being recorded so that they feel more comfortable speaking up and interacting, but take copious notes with all kinds of links and grab things from the chat box, and we'll flesh those out, finalize those, get them into the Padlet for people to have that archive of that conversation. And please join us. Even if you are not a coffee drinker, you're welcome. That's just what we're calling them. So join us.
I'm a big tea drinker, so I will be drinking tea during those. And also, we have that these are, North America time friendly, Europe time friendly. You can join any of the coffee breaks. We just wanted to make sure that we had one kind of for each of our group of LESLA practitioners, people would be able to attend. But you are welcome to attend any of them. We'd love to have you there. All right, so we are going to pause and give you a chance to say hello to your neighbors and meet some of the other LESLA practitioners who are here with us today. So we're going to put you into small breakout groups, think of three to four or 4 to 5. And you'll go into your breakout room and we'd invite you to turn on your video and unmute. Again, if you are unable to turn on your video, if you're unable to mute for whatever reason, just please do use the chat and let people know that you're there and that you're listening. So even if you're not able to participate, you can still listen and learn from the people around you.
Great. We are ready to go if you are, Andrea. And this is one of those moments where people are like, oh, I'm totally not going to do that. Please do that. Like, it's okay. We're friendly. Don't get off the bus right now. Like, join your breakout group, say hello. We know it's easy to duck out for a few minutes, but this is your chance to talk to other LESLA educators. So I'm going to open those rooms and please take a few minutes to chat with your colleagues. Thank you. If you have any questions, there's a place on the bottom of your screen where you can ask for help and we'll join you. And there should be a join link that has appeared on your screen as you join those groups.
We had a great conversation in our breakout room, and it was just lovely to meet people from LESLA practitioners from around the world. So we want to quickly talk about what we have accomplished, an update on our accomplishments this year. The first one, not least, is the fact that we managed to meet monthly via Zoom across 9 time zones. So as Patsy said earlier, we have gotten much more adept at navigating time zones over the past year. In addition to that, we were able to host 4 coffee break webinars with various LESLA guest speakers from around the world, highlighting some of the work and the projects and the resources that they have that would be of interest to the LESLA community. And that's something that we are going to continue to do moving forward. We've had new website resources added and our Heritage Language Hub. And the Heritage Language Hub is an online resource that provides links to sites from around the world that have made available digital reading materials. So just a huge thanks to Ray and the Online Resource Hub development team for all of their work in putting that together this year and getting that live and active. If you haven't checked it out, please do go to the LESLA website and take a look at that. We have also had guest bloggers for our LESLA Voices blog, and you're going to be hearing more about all of this from communications in just a few minutes. We have revamped our proceedings process, and again, you'll get an update on that from Nicole in a few minutes. And last, but certainly not least, the board took on designing and implementing its first ever virtual symposium. So it has been a journey. It definitely takes a village. Everybody on the board has just been incredible with the work that they've done. In particular, huge thanks to Ray and Patsy for everything that they did with putting together the program, the Padlet, figuring out our strands, putting together the PowerPoints. It has been, again, it takes a village, and we've all done amazing work, but Ray and Patsy in particular wanted to say thank you. All right, I'm going to hand it over now to Sarah to talk about membership.
Sure, thank you. So if you're not a LESLA member, maybe you don't know about the benefits of becoming one. As some of you may have noticed recently, so when you were registering, you noticed that if you become a member, you get reduced rate for the annual symposium. When you're a member, you become part of the professional networking community and you network with LESLA educators from all around the globe. And that is the beauty of it. And you're also supporting the work of LESLA educators. There's an opportunity for you to publish through LESLA. And you will be eligible to get a mini grants, and that is very exciting. So if you don't know about our rates, the regular membership is $50 US. Reduced rate is $25 US, and we also have a greatly reduced rate of $10 US. I will put the link in the chat box so you can have the link if you want to become a member, if you're not already a member. And if you have any questions about anything, you can always reach out to me to ask about the benefits or how to navigate around the website, and anything, you can reach out to me. And you may be wondering, what do we do with the membership revenue? So we help the host cities with organizing the symposium. This is the very first virtual symposium. But in the previous years, and hopefully in the future, we will have an in-person symposium, and some of the proceedings some of the revenue will go to our host cities to host the symposium. We also have a structured process to publish the proceedings. Nicole will talk about that later. We spend some of our revenue on that too. And also we are offering some mini grants for research projects, and that is also very exciting. Currently we have 162 members, and we are very hopeful that we will grow and this community will be warm and welcoming to the new members too. And I pass it to Ray. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ray Farrelly. I am the Outgoing Communications Director, and it's so great to see so many familiar names from many symposia past and former students and current students and friends. So quickly, I'll talk about sort of some of the communication stuff we have going on. First is our social life. It used to look like dinner parties at symposia around the world, and now it's mostly Facebook and Twitter and Discord, but that's still super useful. And I'm going to take us to another screen for a minute and share with you a couple of these sites, just because I think it helps to sort of see them to get a feel for what's happening. And let me make sure I pick the right one. Okay, so this is our LESLA main Facebook page. Let me hide all the notifications, which I think many of you have already joined. If you haven't, you can see the URL up here, and maybe someone can drop it in the chat. So this is for mostly LESLA to the community communication. It's a little bit harder to get very interactive on this Facebook page, which is why recently we created the LESLA community Facebook page. And this is a private group that you have to join. So hopefully a lot of you will join this, because what can happen in the community page is that you all can create your own posts, and you can do things like, for example, Nicole recently, as publications coordinator, did a live chat with everyone to talk about what she was doing with publications. That is an option for everyone who's in this community group, is to get involved. So when you go to post in here, hit these three dots, and you have tons of options. You can put out a poll and ask people for some feedback. You can do a live video. You can host a Q&A where you're talking about research you're doing. So I'm happy to see people are joining right now. So keep joining and take advantage of that community page. It's a more, like I said, interactive way for us to engage with one another and let it come from the LESLA community as opposed to top down from LESLA. We're also experimenting with something called Discord. Discord is a platform that the gamers invented, but now it's expanding beyond the gaming community. And they use hashtags to set topics. So you hashtag classroom videos is a discussion around classroom videos. We have a hashtag for health literacy where people can come in here and share about health literacy. We've had a lot of people join, but it's probably for most of us new. So it'll take a minute for us all to get on board and start being active in Discord. But it's an alternative for those who don't want to use Facebook, or it's just another option. And if any of you have teenage kids, they probably use Discord. And the thing about Discord is you have to get an invite to join it, like an invite code. So I will show you in a moment where you can get that. Another thing, just very quickly, I wanted to highlight what Andrea mentioned, which is the Heritage Language Resources Hub. So here's the link on our main site. And then if you click on Mother Tongue Resources, you get to this page. Here you will find online collections of books in hundreds of languages, digital book projects, organizations that promote and support literacy development, and also sites that work for writing and translating your own books into the languages of your students. So when you enter, for example, the online collections, here you'll find tons and tons of resources. When you click on description, you'll learn about that particular website. When you click on available languages, you'll see what languages are represented in that website. So African Storybooks has so many, so you can find out what languages do your students speak, see if you can find them here, and then bring some of those home language books into the classroom. Amazing resource. So we're really grateful to the Heritage Language Resource team. You can learn about the whole team here. Teresa Wall, who's here with us. Well, Belma's here. I think several folks are here also. But these will be your point people for if you want to suggest or add additional resources. LESLLA Voices is just our call to you all to be guest bloggers for LESLLA. We've had a few people contribute. We would love to have more. So we've had some folks from the Netherlands contribute. We want to have more posts in languages other than English. So really don't hold back. If you have something you want to share from your LESLLA context, please just email us and let us know that you want to be a guest blogger, and we would love to put it out there. And it does not need to be translated into English. It can live in all languages on the blog. One thing about this is that the first or most recent blog that's here is Listserv or Community Platform. That is the blog post where you can learn about our decision to do the Discord and the community page. And when you scroll down for the Discord, you can get the invitation to join the Discord here. If it doesn't work, just email us and let us know, and we will get you set up. Okay, and I'm going to stop sharing this, and then, yeah, Andrea, if you want to reshare the slides again. Thank you. So I think I've talked through this slide and the next slide also, actually. The only thing there about this is just, like I said, check out the Heritage Language Hub and contribute to our blog. And Inas Filimban is our new communications director after this symposium, so she will be your point person for all things communications. And yep, thank you.
All right, we'd like to invite Nicole to talk about the proceedings.
Hi, everybody. So it's wonderful to see you all here. Let's start with, in 2019-2020 was my first year working as publications coordinator. And in addition to working on the Pittsburgh proceedings, which are now available on Amazon Print on Demand and free on our website, we also have been working with Palermo to help them finish up their proceedings. The latest update is that they hope to have everything out and published by October 2021. We also worked with Portland to help them finish up. Their stuff is available free on the website, Amazon Print on Demand. And then a big thank you to Ray and the people who passed along the proceedings from St. Augustine, Cologne, and Granada. So we have a poll on the next slide, I believe. So not yet, not quite yet. So I also spent some time researching a journal management system that will be open access and online. And we're going to be, fingers crossed, hopefully starting with that this fall. Also develop some infrastructure and timelines for processes for the proceedings so that when I pass things off to the next person, there's some structure for them to work with, not that they have to do the exact same things, but it's helpful to have some structure in place, calendars and things. Develop some author guidelines for style and terminology. And those who came to the webinar that I gave in July, recall there's a Google Doc link to all of those resources. And then we're piloting a project this year in 2021, 2022, and that is an author mentoring program. And I did a little Facebook Live about that on the community page, but just a brief reminder that if you are presenting this year and you're not sure if you want to submit to the proceedings, or you are sure, but it's your first time, or you just feel like you could use a little boost. Couldn't we all use a boost? I feel like we could all use a boost and encouragement, right? We have some mentors that have signed up to work with authors who express the need. So there are links to all of that in our Google Doc that I believe Patsy has popped into the chat. I will also be emailing authors all of these reminders just so that you have them all in one email. So you've gotten things in bits and pieces up until now, and you'll get it all at once. So don't worry about that. Just enjoy the conference and be waiting to get that email. So a quick poll. If you have accessed proceedings in the past year, how have you accessed them? So take a minute here to make your vote related to the poll. And I'm going to ask Andrea to help me out here. I unfortunately am on a phone because my computer is with my IT office. And so this is a new interface for me, and I'm not sure when it is time for us to stop talking about the poll and move on, or if you could even give us what's coming up on the poll, that would be great, because I do not have that.
Yeah, I can help with that. So
Okay, go ahead,
end
Patsy.
the poll. I think most people who are going to respond have. So I'm going to end the poll, and then I'll share the results. And Nicole, I don't know if you can see those, but it looks like about 60% of folks have accessed the proceedings in the last year from electronic PDFs. And then another 38% did not access one this year, but then 14% each either had the physical PDFs or the physical books.
Okay.
The vast majority are getting them from the website, looks like.
Okay, great. That's wonderful information. And that I think when we move to the journal management system, again, fingers crossed, the idea is for proceedings to be housed there online. So things will continue to be available to you online. I think that might be it for me, but Andrea, I bow to you. You tell me.
Thank you so much, Nicole. You can go ahead and relax. And thanks for joining us, even with your technical constraints.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to hand it over now to Patsy to talk about the organizational structure.
Yeah, so just a couple of things to know. As we formed the board in 2018, we started with a very small group, and we have since understood that in order to get the work done as well as we'd like to do it and as smoothly as we'd like to do it, we needed to add some things. And a couple of those things involved an assistant communications director, so that someone coming into that role isn't sort of dumped into the deep end there. They have some time to really shadow the communications person for a year before jumping into that responsibility. And the same for the publications coordinator. Those are big roles. There's a lot to learn, and we didn't want to lose a few months as people started. So instead, those now have become sort of a 2-year commitment where someone starts as the communications director and then rotates into the actual directorship or coordinatorship, so that they can get going right away when they begin that role. So just continuing to improve the structure of the board. As we know, that is the footing on which we sit. So we wanted to be sure that it's solid. Andrea?
All right, so I think we're going to kind of roll through this slide because people have been pretty active in the chat asking questions, and the entire LESLA board is monitoring that. But if you do have any questions, feel free to pop those in the chat and somebody will answer you. But now I want to turn it over to Monica to talk about this year's LESLA elections.
Great, thanks, Andrea. So I'll be pretty brief. We had an elections process this year, as we do every year. And as Patsy was just saying, we have positions that have a 2-year commitment. So you come in, you are elected to the assistant position, and then you roll into the next position. So we had 5 open positions this year. We had an opening for vice president, for the membership director and assistant treasurer position, the assistant secretary, assistant publications, and assistant communications. So all of those assistant level positions were opened up, and we had 59 members vote, so that was great. We had a nomination time, you can see on the slide, and then we had 3 weeks of voting, and now we get to announce who won the election. So I'll pass it back to you.
All right, so I would like to introduce our new board members. We have Teresa is going to be our vice president. Kate is going to be our assistant secretary. Katie is going to be our membership and assistant treasurer. And Marie is going to be our assistant communications director. And Marisol is going to be stepping into that new position, the assistant publications coordinator. And we could not be more delighted. So if I think all of our new board members are here, if you wouldn't mind turning on your cameras and waving so everybody can see your faces. So thank you. Thanks, everybody. So here is our 2021-2022 LESLA Board of Directors. We're absolutely thrilled. It's going to be a wonderful upcoming year where we've already started making plans for it. And I do want to say that the board has done so much work since it started, but acknowledge that we here on this current board are standing on the shoulders of giants who did all of the work of starting LESLA back in 2005 at their first inaugural symposium in Tilburg. So if there are any founding members of LESLA who are here with us today, it would also be fantastic if you would turn on your camera for a second and wave so that people can see your faces. Because again,
I see Haida and John. Who else has turned? Oh, there's Martha Young-Schulten. Hello. Forgive me if I'm not seeing your names here. I know Larry was here a little bit ago. Wilhelmine, I know you're here. So thank you to all of you who helped us get started.
Yeah, yep. We are so proud to carry on your work. And so this is your current board of directors who will be working for the next year. All right, we are going to jump into having Sarah announce and talk a little bit about where we will be having our LESLA 2022 symposium that will be happening in person next summer. So Sarah, would you like to give us a little bit of information about where we will be?
Sure. This is very exciting. After 2 years of not having an in-person symposium, now we are going to plan for an in-person symposium. And guess where it is going to be? My own state, Arizona. And if you don't know where Arizona is a southwestern US state. There is an arrow on the map that you can see where it is at. And it's best known for the Grand Canyon, but we have a lot of different hiking places and camping places that you can come and enjoy the nature here. We are very famous for our cacti and especially saguaro cactus. We have a lot of them. We have crested saguaros that if you don't know what those are, you should come visit Tucson, Arizona, so I can show you. Tucson is one of the southern towns in Arizona, is the second largest city and is home to the University of Arizona, where we are hoping we can have our symposium next year in. We respectfully acknowledge the University of Arizona is on the land and territories of Indigenous people here. And we are very excited about that. So I'm going to put my email address in the chat box. If you would like to help us, we have a wonderful planning committee. But if you would like to help us with planning and everything, you can reach out to me. I'm going to put my email address in the chat box now. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, Sarah. There's going to be, I think, a big collective hug when we are all able to finally get together in beautiful Tucson, Arizona. So LESLLA 2023, where shall we go? I want to let everybody know that our hosts, we are looking for a host city for 2023. And it needs to be in a non-English dominant country because we move back and forth between English dominant countries and non-English dominant countries. So there is a form on our website if you are interested in being considered to host. It's host a meeting, and you've got some time. So forms are due February 1st, 2022. So we're going to go ahead and move on to our last reminders. And Patsy just chatted that form out in the chat, so you don't even need to go to our website to find it. So we're excited to hear from you and see where we're going to go in 2023. All right, I am going to hand it over to Patsy to do some last minute reminders before we have our first keynote.
Great, thank you. So here we are, just a few final things to know before we get going with the rest of the day. I've put some things in the chat box here. If you weren't here earlier and didn't get a hold of those links, everything is there. The link you used to join today is your link and your link only. It is the only link you need to keep track of. We decided to keep things simple this time. You don't need to have a different link for every session or coffee break or roundtable. You just use yours. It is one Zoom space. So that's good news. Also, all the recordings and presentations and materials are ready for you in that Padlet. So the Symposium Padlet is also in the chat. If you haven't checked it out yet, you definitely want to. That's where everyone's recordings are, and you'll watch those prior to coming to the roundtable session, hopefully. If you didn't have a chance to see them, come anyway. It's okay. You'll have a chance to chat with those presenters. And then we do hope you'll plan to come to one or more of the coffee breaks. These are live, interactive, not being recorded. We will take good notes. It's a great place to connect with your colleagues and share resources and expertise. And then finally, throughout the week, we encourage you to use that message board. So if you haven't been to the message board yet, it's actually quite cute. You can see pictures of people and their pets and all sorts of great interaction happening there already that you won't want to miss out on. Thanks. Andrea?
All right, so we are going to go ahead and wrap up our All-LESLLA meeting. Thank you all so much for coming. We hope that we answered some questions for you, that you were able to get some of those links that will be helpful for you to participate and be an active LESLLA member throughout the year. And just again, one last shout out to the board who has done so much work with pulling this together. And a shout out to our LESLLA community. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming together. We are so thrilled that we are able to have a symposium that brings practitioners from around the world together for 2 days to celebrate everything that we have done over the past 2 years since we last got together. So thank you. Thank you for all of your hard work. And we hope that you have a wonderful symposium.
Great. And a big shout out to Andrea for all of her work putting today together as well. We do have our keynote speaker here. We're going to get people stretch while we get her presentation up and this one out. So take a moment, refill your coffee, and we'll come back in just a couple minutes. You don't need to leave this space. You can just stay here and we'll begin the keynote in just a couple of minutes. Thank you for being here.